Hello. Welcome in. It is time to do some live sprints, some reading sprints, some live sprints. It's time to do some reading sprints. We are joined by 2 of 3 cats. Wait, yeah, just 2 right now. We've got both Klaus and Zuko with us. Hi, Sarah. Oh man, the time changes this morning. And it's, my body is still like, I don't know what time it is anymore. Yes, right? Agreed. Also hate daylight savings. They need to just stop it. They need to just stop. It is going to be at least nicer for, like, I can film videos later and still have daylight, which is cool, but that's about the only benefit. Oh, starting the safe keep. Nice. Oh, I'm excited to see what you think. Wait, how did you know? But how did you know, though? I'm literally like, can you see how close we are to the end of Ship of Destiny? And then I'm starting. So this is what I'm reading today, is Ship of Destiny. I want to say like 50 pages left, which is crazy. This doesn't look like 50 pages. There's something about like at the beginning of this book when I'm like 100 pages in, and I'm like, it looks like I haven't done anything. It looks like I haven't started this book. But only 50 pages from the end now. And it really feels like everything's wrapping up. But also like there could be stuff happening in the future. I don't know. I'm having a hard time just like coming to terms with the fact that this trilogy is ending, and the only thing getting me going is that there's more after. Oh, daylight savings isn't for another 3 weeks. Sometimes I don't know how the world works. Like how they came up with these things, why we're still doing it. But that's me personally. I know in Florida, was it a year ago, 2 years ago when I lived there, one of the votes that we had was to end daylight savings time, but in like the way that I didn't want to end it. I was like very conflicted because I was like, man, it would be nice if this was just not a thing anymore. But also I'd rather be on, because there's a couple of states in the US that don't do it, like Arizona, and we would have been on the reverse side of Arizona. So like the time zones would have been like all messed up. Like everywhere in Arizona's time zone would be on one time, and then Arizona would be on another time zone compared to Florida. So silly. It didn't pass. It didn't even get close to passing. So it didn't matter anyway. But hi, Amelia. Welcome. Okay, same for Marcella on the daylight savings. I can't even think. Haven't started the March spin book yet. I have so many books from the library from the International Booker long list, and I can't extend the loan since there are so many people on the waiting list. Yeah, that's that's a real problem when it comes to prize lists and everything. I did look at the International Booker list, and there is like a large part of me that is experiencing insane FOMO right now. So basically, I think it was like that day or the next day, I texted Kieran and was like, I think I'm gonna have to do Booker this year because it's International Booker now, and I really feel like I'm missing out. So I think I'm doing Booker this year. Just fun announcement. Good morning, Sam. I finished my spin book, Asian Skidori. It was my first 5-star of the year. Yay! That's awesome. I wish I had like balloon things, animations or whatever. That is awesome, Angela. Oh, I still have yet to find my first 5-star. I'm patiently waiting. I also finished my spin book. The City We Became, and I really loved it. I'm so happy to have finally read that one. I can't believe I almost unhauled it like years ago. So yeah, that was a great read. Great way to start off the month of February. And then that's basically, I think I started Ship of Destiny like right afterwards. So that's really all that I've read. Oh, I kind of forgot that this was here because that when I got to a certain point in Ship of Destiny, I stopped doing this, but I was reading a chapter of The Uninhabitable Earth every morning. It's pretty depressing. It is. I mean, it's good. Like, we should know these things, and like all of the climate crises that are happening, and like the different ways that they present themselves. But also, it's a lot to start the mornings with, like, oof. So, but I have gotten quite a bit of the ways into it. So I'll probably, once I'm finished with Destiny, I'll probably continue doing the chapter or so of that a day. But yeah, that's really all the reading that I've done in February. Although after this, there's 2 novellas that are within the realm of the Elderling, like, universe that Robin Hobbs created, that are like next up for me. So I'll probably be reading those, and then those will be nice, like, quick wins for after a very large book. Finished my January spin last week and am now starting my February spin book. You know what? That works. I think last year I had finally figured this out. I think I did 3 of the spin books, 4. Like, I started a bunch of them. So I'm like in the middle of a lot more books because of that. But it was mostly because, like, getting to the end of the month, I was like, oh, I haven't started my TBR spin book. So I would just start it. And then I would be like, well, I have a bunch of other books I'm also reading right now, so I need to stop. And it was a mess. So this setup is going a lot better for me. And hopefully for you all as well. I'm trying to finish the Women's Prize nonfiction about Vikings, then back to my TBR spin, 13 wins. Okay, nice. Wow, I didn't know that there was a Viking book that made it to the Women's Prize. I didn't really look at the nonfiction list, if I'm being honest. But Women's Prize is always one that I feel like it could be fun to kind of participate in more. I've never really, I think I one year read like all the shortlisted books, but that was as close as I got to like really doing it. Marcella, I always get a bit of FOMO watching people read any prize list because my library rarely carries even half of the long list of books and I can't afford to buy them all. Yeah, that's the real struggle. And that's honestly why I haven't been doing Booker. Especially like in the US, it's pretty hit or miss whether the books are even released by the time they are like on the long list for the prize. And it used to be that I like reliably had somebody at Booker that it would at least give me like the PDFs of the books, which was so nice. But they changed like marketing teams. And I do think that this marketing team is like crushing it as far as like, at least in comparison on like Instagram and things like that. Like they're doing a lot more fun stuff. They're the ones that like started doing like the quiz to figure out like what your next read from the long list should be and all that, which I think is really fun. But unfortunately, they were not as interested in working with me, or maybe they're just very busy and don't have time, which is also totally fine. But it did make it a lot harder to be like, yeah, I'll participate, because it was like, am I going to purchase these books? Like, how am I going to get these? Yeah, my library typically gets some of them. Actually, my Florida library gets more of them than this one does, ironically. But I think I just need to join more libraries in the area. Yay, Amelia, I'm glad you're happy. Me too. I was really looking forward to this. And I think that, like, yeah, there just was too much time happening between the spin sprints that and it's also kind of exciting to be able to like continue a book that I've already been reading. Like I get to finish a book in this sprint, which will be exciting. I can admit right now I haven't finished any spin books. That is okay. Only read 3 books total so far this year, though. This year's been rough on my free time. Yeah, that is totally fine. And that definitely happens. Last year, this time, I had not read very much. And even what I've read, I'm literally like, I need to go back and reread this. But I was prepping for the move out to Denver. And yeah, there's literally like a book that I just put back on my TBR that I technically read early last year. It's The Through Body Problem by Jijun Liu. And I barely remember any of it. I was like, I need to fully reread that. But yeah, and then for February and March, I don't think I read like hardly anything, maybe like a book. And in my head, I was like, oh, while I'm packing, I'll like listen to audiobooks and it'll be great. But same for the FOMO. I rely so much on the library, but I ended up buying 7 books from the International Booker list because I really wanted to read them. Yeah. That that is also fair. I've definitely done that before. I think like the first year that like I wasn't able to reliably get the books, I bought like quite a few of them just because I was excited about reading them. And there is that real want right now as well. I think it just helps that there's like a lot of other books that I really wanted to get to. But I feel like timing wise is going to work out for like regular Booker. It's hard to find all the books here too, but I'm using Everand in several libraries. And my main library is obviously having an eye on prize lists, so that's helpful. Nice. Oh, that's always good. Yeah, the libraries out here don't seem to really care about the Booker Prize. Weird, I know. But my used bookstore seems to care, which I really like. Like some of the books that they purchase new are I've been noticing that they're prize list books. And they also have this cute little shelf that's all their used prize list books that I really love checking out every time I go there. How are we feeling about Everand? I'm curious because I can't decide how I feel about like the change to possibly more kind of like credit-based system. Or at least that's what they're doing over here. And I think it makes sense. Like I think it's kind of insane that they even like existed to begin with. Like when I first discovered that I could just get like whatever the audiobooks that they had like access to, that was really great. But yeah, then I saw that they were going to a new credit system, and then I'm unsure of how I feel about it. I mean, whatever keeps them going, obviously. I much prefer them to like Audible, but also sometimes some of the books are already published in German for quite a while. Nice. Yeah, there's been a couple like very rare instances, but I think there was like 2 different times when there was a book that had been published in the US for quite a while and just hadn't yet been published in the UK. And like that's why it was eligible for the award. And it was like, oh, this is actually really easy for me to find. With the International Booker, I often find Dutch translation more easily if they're available, but then am I really reading the book that is longlisted? That's a good point. Like for International Booker, because like the translator wins a prize too. That is a good point. I only read in one language. Also, I only speak one language. Although, well, I know quite a bit of American Sign Language. I've taken a lot of classes, and my mom was an interpreter for quite some time. But more like a casual interpreter. It wasn't like her job or anything. But you can't read in that. It's just not a readable language. My library system is horrible with translated books. Oh, yeah, mine's not. It doesn't seem like my new library is great with it. But I'm just going to keep requesting stuff that I want, and hopefully that'll help out. They do seem to be a very responsive library, which I really like. And also they're way more involved in the community than my last library, which is nice. I understand why people switch to Everand, but don't things disappear if you listen too much or something? I've heard that was not my experience, and I don't know if I had like a different like subscription model when I was using it. I only stopped it because I decided to just stop all of my current 1 second. I need to break up a cat fight. What do you do, bud? You can sit on my lap. He's like, no, I don't care about your lap. Okay, he'll just hang out in the tree. But yeah, I heard that that was a thing, but like that was never that never happened to me. So I don't know if I was on like a different I was like paying a different amount or whatever. But now I believe they're going to more of a credit thing. Everyone hasn't changed the system over here yet. Okay. But I think they will since more and more books become unavailable. I will cancel my subscription if they change the credits. Yeah, that's I don't know if I would restart. It was a subscription that I thought that I would restart. So I like canceled all my subscriptions because I was just like, I need to like reset and decide like what is really important to me. And that's the one that I was like, oh, I'll definitely restart that. But then I saw that the new model. So basically, I think that anybody that is not currently subscribed can no longer get the version, at least in the US. I don't know if they're like changing it slowly for different areas. But my understanding of it here is that if you don't currently have a subscription, you can't get the subscription where like you can just listen to whatever they have available. And then they for those that were already subscribed, when they introduced the new credit thing, then some of the books kind of were like premium. I don't think they use that word, but something along those lines. Like then those books needed credits in order to listen to them, and they no longer. And then they just had like books that were more basically none of their like new books, and like those ones you could listen to as much as you wanted to. So it changed for both people that already had subscriptions, but then definitely for people that are thinking about getting subscriptions. I recently switched from Everand to Libro FM, but mostly because I only read about one audiobook a month at most, so 1 credit a month system seemed like a better fit. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so Amelia, you also, I don't know why, what was I paying for? I don't know why I never had like a cap on Everand. Also, I like how with Libro FM you can support an indie bookstore of your choice. Yeah, for sure. Libro FM is one of those where like sometimes I'm participating and sometimes I'm not, which is what I used to do for Audible back when I was using Audible forever ago. I would like be subscribed for a period of time and then be like, okay, like I'm getting too many credits, I'm not listening enough, and then I would end it, and then I would like restart it. That is now Libro FM for me. Anyone else use AnyPlay? It's $90 a year in the US. Books are hit or miss, but I'm often surprised by what's available. I've never even heard of AnyPlay, but I'm definitely going to look into it. Although they are denying it, but it's definitely a tag to keep your subscription going. They always blame it on licenses. Yeah, for sure. Ugh, fun times in the world of books. Okay, but I think we can go ahead and get started on a reading sprint. I know I'm very excited because of how very close I am to the end of this book. I don't think I'll finish it this sprint, but maybe our second sprint. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Let me switch to, there we go. Oh, I just realized that it literally says what I'm reading on the thing. I was very surprised earlier when I was called out for reading Ship of Destiny. I literally put it on my name. Right. Anyways, happy reading, everybody. Whoops. I don't know how I did that. Oh, okay. Okay. Now I know how I did that. Okay, we should be good for audio being on on that tab for other sprints. But it was very helpful because it got me right to the end of my chapter. And then I looked up. Alrighty. Oh, I always forget to use my Spotify hours. I know there's something like weird about the fact that you get like a certain number that like I feel disappointed in myself if I haven't used all of the hours by the time the like month ends and it resets. But also if I use them all and I'm still like in the middle of a book, then I'm annoyed because then I have to wait. It's weird. It's weird mentally. So you all heard the it was like connected to my mic that I don't even have a headset in, so it's very weird. Let's see. Finished my spin book. I had read the author Ivy Compton Burnett back in the day, and her books were not for me, but I was seduced by the Picasso painting on the cover. She still isn't for me. I mean, at least you know that now. You can confirm she's still not for you. Good morning, Gemma. Good morning, Lita. It's not morning for you, Gemma. Or good afternoon. I'm just looking at other comments and reading the wrong things. Good. That makes more sense. I have to watch the recording of today's plot along. Oh, was there a plot along earlier today? Probably while I was sleeping. Yes, timer mishaps. Ooh, I'm also gonna have to watch the recording of the plot along. Started on A Woman's Madness by Astrid Reimer. Oh, from the International Booker long list. Yeah, that one looks so good. How are you liking it? Or have you read enough of it to get an opinion? I'm so ready to be done with the Viking book. I've been disappointed with it. Nearly done. I guess if you're nearly done, then a DNF is probably not in the cards for you. But have you considered DNFing? I'm a big proponent of it these days. I feel like at the end of last year, I DNF'd so many books. Well, so many for me. It probably wasn't really that many, but I used my Spotify hours within the first week or two of every month. Nice. Yeah, I usually try to use them when like I'm waiting for a loan to come in on at the library and it's not there yet, or my loan is just expired at the library and I haven't finished a book. But yeah, I typically both listen and read a book at the same time. Like for Ship of Destiny, I've been listening to the audiobook through my library and then reading it as well. That's my preferred method. Not like at the same time, not the, what do they call that? Immersive reading, I think. But just like going back and forth, just depending on what I'm doing. But that helps with the Spotify-ness to be like, okay, I guess I could read it because I usually also have some way of reading the book as well. Read about 30 pages in The Safe Keep. I'm finding it very interesting so far language-wise. Reading a book written in English by a Dutch author as a Dutch reader. Yeah, that's it's a very funny thing to think of. But have you ever like read books in like Dutch and then also in English later, or like vice versa? And how did you find that experience? I remember I tried to read a middle grade book in Spanish back when my Spanish was much, much better than it is now. It is super fallen off. But I could like just about read a middle grade book with it, and it was one that I'd already read before. But I think I was like so not bilingual that the experience still very much felt like I was translating the Spanish into the story that I knew. Like it didn't feel like a new or different story to me. But I think that's just because I wasn't like fluent. I was just close to fluent, if that makes sense. Started Reaper at the Gates in that sprint. I don't think I've heard of that one. Reaper at the Gates. I'm gonna have to look that up. Is it like thriller horror, or is that just the title that makes it seem like that? Reading Big Bird and really enjoying it. Nice. Okay. Seems a bit weird. The on a Woman's Madness. Nice. I like a little bit of weird, but sometimes, too far into DNF, 40 pages left, but I should have earlier. Yeah, I do have, I always say that like all of my ratings that are like a lower than a 2-star are books that I should have DNF'd. Like that's the only way that a book can get that rating for me is if there was like a certain time when I thought that I should DNF. Maybe Sarah, are you listening to it or just reading it? Is it sometimes I can only do nonfictions if I'm listening to it. Random questions. Have you read First Time Caller by BK Borison as it's 99p today? Oh, I know you've read some of her other books. No, I haven't. I did request it in NetGalley, and I think it was the only one that I requested that I got denied. So I was like, oh, that's okay. I wasn't like super bothered about it. Just because I haven't read a lot of romances I haven't read a lot of romances, period. But I'm getting there. But I don't know that I've read any that have where one of the people is a parent. And I tend to not like the way children are written in books. I don't know. I find it very weird typically. I'm sure there are certain books out there where it like works well. And I think that particularly in romance novels, I worry that they would just like try to make the kids like super cutesy. And I don't know that I would like it, but so I was kind of on the fence about reading that one, but I liked the premise of it and the cover looks really cool. But also I've had a very mixed bag with BK Borison because I liked Love Light Farms. I thought that was really cute. It wasn't like a favorite or anything, but I really enjoyed like fully my full time reading it. But then In the Weeds, I like hate it. So I still can't decide, but I probably won't end up reading that one unless it's also on sale here, if it like just randomly comes up. Just because I still have the third book in the Love Light Farms that I haven't read yet. So I'll probably read that one at least first. But if anybody else has read it, please let us know. I'm jumped on 10 minutes before the end, so I just did some plot planning. Nice. Productive Time is also good. It's the third book in the Ember in the Ashes quartet. Okay. I've heard of that. I'm always bad with the titles of books that are like further into a series. I'm bad with that in like the books that I've read, like in the series that I'm actively reading, especially the Expanse books. There being 9 of them. Gemma, I'm sure that you feel this as well. I have a friend now that's reading through them, and I think she's in the 4th or 5th book, but she calls them by their names, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think I've read that book. She's like, no, it's in the series that you've almost finished. She's loving them, by the way. It's very fun to get to like relive through her. I think she started just before January, and she's on like the 4th or 5th book. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I think with this, I can tell which Dutch sayings and sentences she had in mind. Oh, funny. Sometimes that annoys me in Dutch to English translations. Okay, but it still reads very fluently in this case. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be interesting to be a judge for a translated prize, especially if you don't know the original language, which doesn't seem like they really ever do, if I understand that correctly. Or at least it's very, very rare that happens. And so like, how do you know that the translation is good? Like I vaguely guess, like books I can think of are The Book of Dust felt like the translation was good. And I don't even know how how that's possible with me only reading one of the languages and not knowing the original language. But so good. I once tried to read The Employees by Olga Ravin in English and couldn't get into it. And then I got an arc of the German translation and really liked it. Funny. That shows the power of translation. Well, now I want to learn German and read the German translation, because The Employees is one of those books that sticks with me so consistently. It's not one that I consider one of my favorites, but I do kind of want to go back and reread it. I don't think I own it anymore. I don't know. It still sticks in my brain. I'm reading it. Oh, the Vikings, the Viking book. Got it from the library. I find it skips through things really quickly, but also makes it dry. Yeah, not good, especially in a nonfiction. I'm just bored despite really wanting it to be good. Has high ratings though. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like it would be nice to read like a good Viking book, like a good Viking nonfiction. But it's sad that that's not it. Worried about Big Bird since I DNF'd another book by this author. I don't remember what. I looked at all the books, but all of the synopses are blending together in my mind. I really want to read that series. Yeah, I second this. I also, okay, flying through them, because I feel like I've been getting into more fantasy, obviously. And I want to read like even more of it. I'm just having so much fun with fantasy right now. Speaking of, has anybody read the From Blood and Ash series here? And can you tell me what you thought of it? Because there was 4 books of it in the little library in my neighborhood. I did grab all of them. I will say I donate like a ton of books to that little library. I feel like I now need to make this caveat, because I do get a lot of books from the little library, but I also leave so many books, especially because like if you get an ARC, like I can't give that to the used bookstore because they can't sell it. But I can put it in the little library and then it still like it gets a second life. I'm probably the only person who DNF'd the Safekeep since the dialogues annoyed me, and I could see the twist coming very early into the book. Yeah, fair. It is very upsetting when that happens. Yes, I forget the names of all the books and what happened when. Can't believe we're starting book 9 next week. Yeah, crazy. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to be done with them. But I also am excited for like the other, because this has basically been the only sci-fi I've been reading since we started it. I can't think of any other sci-fi book I've read since then. Oh, technically with the exception of the 3-Body Problem, which I can't remember and need to reread. So there's that. But yeah, I'm excited to finally be able to say that like I've read all the Expanse books, and I got rid of some of the earlier ones, and now I'm really regretting that because I kind of wish that I had like the whole series. I think interestingly with the Safekeep, it has been very highly praised internationally, but over here it only got medium reviews. Interesting. So I'm very curious if I can discover why that is. Yeah, it is kind of funny, like the books that do well and where they do well, and also the authors that become popular in another country, like the authors from like Japan that become popular in the US. And I feel like it can't be guessed because it does still feel very distinctly different from like books that we have that like get popular here. But they still do well here. I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day with what is the book? I Who Have Never Known Men, by Jacqueline Hartman, which I think was originally written in French, and she's from Belgium. But on its first time around, like when it was originally translated to English, it did not do well at all. And it was to the point where like the publisher would only publish the book if somebody ordered it. Like it was just being printed to order. And then and it had a different name at that point. And then it came back around and got like a republish. And they retranslated the name to be closer to like the French version, with I Who Have Never Known Men. And then it like blew up. And I think that's so strange to think about. And like, I don't know if it was like time period or something like that, but I do find it very interesting. I've not read Kawakami before, and Big Bird reads like short stories. Ooh, so I should hate it, but the concepts are really interesting. And now I'm near the end. I'm loving it. Okay. I might have to read that. I love a book that reads like short stories. Okay, nice. All right. I think let's go ahead and get back into another reading sprint. I have, I think 30 pages left, a little under 30 pages left. So I think this is when I get to finish this. I'm pretty sure I have like a chapter in the epilogue left. And there's something sad about finishing a trilogy by Robin Hobb that it makes me just want to start another trilogy by Robin Hobb. But I do have the like novellas to read after this, so I'll be fine. Okay, and I think I got the audio issue worked out, so hopefully I actually notice when the time is up. Okay. I heard the alarm thing this time. Oh, I like Scout just silhouetted in the window. Okay, I finished my book. I've got a bit of a book hangover from being done with this trilogy. Oh, and it made me, I don't know, the ending made me really want to get back to like the area that the first trilogy was in. I think maybe just based off the name of the third trilogy, we might be getting that. But I'm not planning on starting that until next month. And then I've got 2, I think, like short stories to read, which I think I have one. I was just trying to look up if I have it on my library. But how did everybody's reading go? Should I be worried that you left it? Do you not typically have similar reading tastes? It's always funny when you have like a friend that you love, like that also loves reading, but they always like different things than you like. So you never know if you can really, if you want to like read the books that they absolutely loved or not. Continued reading On a Woman's Madness. It's a bit hard to follow, quite disjointed, a lot of time jumps. Okay, but I've never read a book from Suriname before. Okay. Yeah, it intrigues me, but that would also make me nervous. Because sometimes I do like a bit of disjointedness, but also other times, like, what was that book? It just got like really popular again. This is how you lose the time war, I think is what it's called. I struggled so much with that book and I did not like it. And it's really weird seeing it like pop up again as being really popular. I've been prepping dinner whilst listening to Jane Austen at home. Jane, is it called Jane Austen at home? Or are you saying that you're listening to it at home? By Lucy Worsley. And is that like a nonfiction about Jane Austen? Okay, I'm looking it up. Okay, yeah, it's called Jane Austen at home. When I first read it, I thought you were saying you were listening to it at home. Okay, yeah, biography. Nice. I feel like Jane Austen would be somebody that'd be really interesting to learn more about. Okay, nice. Nonfiction. I listened to my audiobook while I walked the dog, just got back. I'm listening to Blackwater Rising by Attica Locke for my workbook club. I hate it. I joined my workbook club and I never read any of the books for it. So I just have the invites all the time. I think because I went to one of the first ones and the conversation, like it just very much felt like we were work people having a conversation about books, if that makes sense. Like it didn't feel as relaxed as a regular book club setting. And I'm sure that that's probably just because like people were kind of getting used to it and more comfortable with each other and everything. And nobody knew each other because it was like from all parts of the company. But it did put me off a little bit. But I should try that again. Actually, I do think that they have a book coming up that I've already read. So I might join in and see how it's going. The post-life ship traders hangover is real. I am feeling it. My brain is like still half in that right now, and I feel like it's going to be for the next week. I love the way Robin Hobb ends books because I feel like you get a lot of closure for a lot of different characters, but in a way that it still feels like they've got their lives to live and everything, and like so much can happen. There's one character that I wish got a bit more. I wish we got a bit more justice. I wish there was I wish a few more bad things happened to them. Is that mean to say? I was really this part that I read last night. I got so mad, like so irrationally mad. And I just wish that we got a little bit more in that. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. 4 pages left. Yay. Just 4 pages of Viking book. You've got this. It's a 50-50, Amelia, whether or not you'll like it. I'm reading It Lasts Forever and then it's over. About 20 pages left in the book. Nice. I feel like a lot of us are kind of finishing up books. Translated from Dutch. Have you heard of it before? It's considered a queer feminist modern classic. Ooh. Okay, I missed the first sprint, but this one I was reading Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, which is so good and so infuriating. That is always a fun feeling, isn't it? There's quite a few books that they stand out so much in my mind because of how infuriated I was during them, but also they were really good. I've heard amazing things about Cast. I think I'd like to read that. Absolutely love my workbook club. It has brought loads of us closer together. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm sure that mine's gotten better. I do see them because I'm even in the little Teams chat, and I do see them chatting every once in a while about the books they're reading and things like that. And that does make me want to more be a part of it because it does seem like it's gotten more relaxed than the first time. My company is the company I work for is really huge. So I was a bit intimidated when I saw that there were 90 people in the first book club. But also I think that was probably because it was the first book club. So I think that there's less people that show up for each one now. So maybe a little bit less intimidating to speak up. I'm not sure which one. I found it. Impenetrable. Oh, that is a good word for a book. I'm going to have to remember that one because that is a good way to describe some books. Okay. Still just living in the ship of destiny of it all. I don't know if I can wait until next month to start another Robin Hobb. No, I have these stories, so it'll be fine. I've realized that weirdly, the version that I have of The Inheritance and Other Stories, which is one of them, is just, I think, The Inheritance and not the And Other Stories, which I don't know how that happened. We have about 8 to 10 who come to each book club, and we take it in turns to host and bake cakes. Oh, that's nice. Mine's fully virtual, so it's not that cute. I would love that though. I like having my in-person book club here. We used to, the book club that I had started in Florida, which is still going strong, and I haven't been running it for years at this point. Because we were originally going to move to Denver a lot earlier than we did. And so I had handed off the book club to somebody else to run it, which worked really well. And it's still going strong. But we used to actually meet at people's houses, and we would bring food and wine and stuff. And that was really nice. Now the book club that I'm at here, or that I'm in here, we meet at public places, but I think a lot of that's because it's in the meetup stages where we're kind of gathering members and getting more comfortable with each other. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did a little mix up later. How big is your book club? Sorry, I work for GP, so I wonder if our work situation is similar. Yeah, probably pretty similar. I don't know how many people are technically in it in the same way that I'm in it, in that they get all the invites and everything. But if I had to guess, I would say probably hundreds. Because the company has thousands and thousands of employees. I might pick up on the calculation of volume again, which I started yesterday, and I'm really intrigued by so far. I have not heard of that at all. But now I'm looking it up. I have my whole computer in front of me and could be searching these things on there, and yet I pick up my phone to Google. I love the cover. Oh, how cool. Oh my gosh, I want that cover as artwork. That's so pretty. I think I can see why that's been the case. Oh, the impenetrable, for sure. I work at a library. My coworkers and I are always trading book recs and buddy reading. It's pretty great. That is wonderful. I do feel like I've been attracting more and more people that like to read. I mean, it helps to have like a book YouTube channel, but also just like in my regular life. But I think it's because when I hear that somebody reads, I'm like, okay, we're definitely going to be friends. Like we need to be friends now. Oh, it's also on the International Booker long list. Huh, I must have entirely forgotten it because I looked at them. I looked at them with my eyes. And yet that didn't that didn't stick with me. There'll be 6 more books to come in that same series, because that's like the second book of a series, right? So are those like already written but just like not translated yet? Okay. I do need to work out my library situation to make sure I have the books I'm going to be reading. It's the first book. Oh, okay. Nice, nice. The only books that have been recommended by coworkers have been Colleen Hoover and Fourth Wing. Okay, yeah, I get the full vibe now. And I'm saying that as somebody who enjoyed Fourth Wing. That is so funny. Yeah, for real. Not that you can't love those books. For sure, for sure. I kind of so I don't read Colleen Hoover, but I watched this YouTuber who she and a friend of hers like get together, and they basically she's read all of whatever Colleen Hoover book that they're going through, and then she marks different passages, and then they read through them together, and it's his first time like seeing it at all. And so you get like the general premise and like plot of the entire book, but you're only getting like passages of the writing, and that is by far enough for me of Colleen Hoover. But also those videos are hilarious. Oh, what is that? What is her channel name? Because I highly recommend, if you like, I really like watching videos of people that like read books and then kind of just like talk about how ridiculous they are. And that is definitely one of them. Like I think Nicole, oh, what is her name? Now I can't remember any YouTubers' names anymore. Oh wait, no, I was thinking Nicole is the name of the original YouTuber I was thinking of. Nicole Raffi. If anybody is interested in that, I'm gonna put her name in the chat because those videos are hilarious. Okay, she's written 4 so far. Got it. Okay, I'm gonna need you to let me know how it is. Maybe I'll just decide which books to read based off of you, Amelia. I'll just get your reviews in like these live streams, and it'll be perfect. Same with the book recommendation. I was very excited the other day. Went to an ice cream, our like local ice cream shop, and I saw Onyx Storm sitting behind the counter, and I was like, "Is that your book?" Because there was like a couple people behind the counter, and the person that was like scooping my ice cream, she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, how are you liking it?" And it is very exciting to read a book that's so popular that like you could just run into somebody that has the book with them, and you can talk about it. I finished On the Calculation Volume earlier today. Great start to the long list. Love it. Oh, great. Already a good recommendation. Oh, I feel like I'm going to end up reading On the Calculations of Volume now. I mean, not now, not literally now. Well, maybe if I can't get this library book. We'll see. Maybe I'll check my library. Love hate reading books as much as the next person. I don't think I can even do it on my own, unless it's like a very short book or like insanely readable, which probably Colleen Hoover books are, if I had to guess. But I love watching other people talk about them, is what I've learned of myself. I loved On the Calculation of Volume as well. I have bought the first 4, and the 5th is available in Danish and Norwegian. The 2 last have not been published. Okay, nice. Ooh. Man, now but no, I need to get through these short stories because these ones, so I've been on the like hustling to catch up in the Fits Along that is being done by Win by Literary Diversions, who, hi, if you're still here, but they were here earlier. And I'm finally caught up like book-wise, but technically I think that they're also talking about the 2 like short stories in the next one. So I do need to read those so that I'm like ready to go for when that live stream happens. So yeah, I shouldn't just be picking up international booker books, but like maybe after that. Okay, let's go ahead and do another sprint. I think that this is going to be my last one for today, because I am going over to a friend's house and we're puzzling. Do you guys want to know the nerdiest thing about me? Well, I have a booktube channel that's pretty nerdy, but we're all book nerds here, so it's not. But I do speed puzzling competitions sometimes. And they are very, very fun. So I'm getting together with some friends. I finally have like friends that are also interested in taking part. And the Colorado competition is in April. And so we're like going to be a team. And so we're getting together this afternoon to practice speed puzzling. And now you know just how much of a nerd I am. I feel less alone in my struggle with daylight savings clock changes now that I see you, Sarah. Usually takes me a week to adjust. Yeah, I could go right back to sleep right now. The struggle is real. But hopefully the sunshine now is helping more. So okay. But last sprint, I will figure out my book situation and see how far I can get. Also, I'll probably get up to get some banana bread because I am hungry. Okay, how did everybody's reading go? Mine was mixed. I mostly blame Klaus for that. He has been very needy for some pets, but very cute. Okay, he's also, he gets like this. He gets very restless. He wants pets, but also he wants to pace. Which is probably, if you were looking, you would have seen him just going back and forth on my desk. Oh, you watched the Ravensburger. Yeah. They like are the sponsors for, I think, both the national, like the US national and the world's speed puzzling competition. But yeah, I like to watch the live streams of those. I've never been to like anything outside of the only in-person competitions I've been to, or it's just been one. It's been one set in Colorado, but I've done a few of the like virtual ones, which have been fun. Had dinner and listened a little bit more to Jane Austen at home. Nice. Are you liking it? I read a chunk of Kindred. Oh, nice. About halfway through it, and it is absolutely living up to all the hype. Oh, good. Yeah, I read my first Octavia E. Butler this past year, and it was one of my favorites of the year. Why is the name escaping me? I know I have it in my kept books. Oh, it's behind something. Parable of the Sower. Could not think. Actually, I could have just looked at the second book because that's up there too. Anyway. I'm so happy to have finished a book. Didn't get to my TBR Spin book, but at least now I can resume it. Nice. Yes, always a good feeling. I'm happy to have finished it with Destiny, even if it's still like rattling around in my brain. I started with The Inheritance and Other Stories. Finally got that situated from my library. Turns out I hadn't synced my Kobo. It's like the easiest thing to connect with the library, and I just like didn't. But I didn't realize that because like on this it says that it's by Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm, if you can see. And I didn't realize that they're both just Robin Hobb. I mean, I think Megan Lindholm is closer to her actual. I think it's Margaret Lindholm is her actual name. But in the preface, she talked about like why she went with that, and then why she later picked up the name Robin Hobb when she started the Farseer trilogy, which is the first trilogy in like the universe of books I'm reading. So like half of the short stories in The Inheritance are like considered Megan Lindholm short stories, and then half of them are Robin Hobb. She said that like both authors, she feels like they have a very different voice, even though they're both, her. So I wasn't expecting like non-fantasy, but the first story is a sci-fi. I guess you would classify it as. There's aliens in it, but they're not super relevant. At least it doesn't seem like so far. I started the next Ivy long list book. Nice. Reservoir Bitches. Nice. Yes. That's one of the ones I'm intrigued by. 25% into the book, so it has been a successful sprint. That is very successful. Nice. Oh, I love seeing all like the progress people make. It's really interesting so far, really getting into the houses she lived in, what her day-to-day life was like, and I love that kind of thing. Yeah, I'm actually now kind of wanting to read it because I've read all of Jane Austen's works, and I kind of want to read them again, honestly, because I feel like I would appreciate them even more now, especially Sense and Sensibility, because that was the first one that I read, and I feel like I wasn't ready for Jane Austen yet when I read it. I think I was in like high school, but I hadn't read anything like that except for maybe in school. And so like, therefore it wasn't cool. But then I later picked up Pride and Prejudice and loved it. And then read Emma, of course, loved it. And then continued on with the rest of her books and really liked all of them. And so I really feel like I should go back to Sense and Sensibility because I do think that that would be one of my favorites if I were to read it now. Finished my book, quite existential. hopefully in a good way. I was like, yeah, that could be in a good way or a bad way. Starting on my TBR Spin book. Nice. I'm in a reading mood now, going to start a book for a buddy read next. America is Not the Heart by Elaine Castillo. Heard great things about it. I don't think I've heard of that one. But now I will Google. This is how I get all my book recommendations now, by the way. I mean, I get some from like the comments of my videos, but the ones that I get in these, I don't know, they feel more special. Oh, I have heard of this. I recognize the cover anyway. Okay, I'm excited to see what you think of it. Oh, and it's a multi-generational book. I love a good multi-generational book. Yeah, I think that I'll probably be continuing on with these stories going forward. This is the end of our sprints for today, but and then I think that I'm going to be picking up a thriller, which I'm excited about to read alongside the 9th book from the Expanse series, the last one, which is kind of crazy. I've been reading a lot from series lately, actually, but yeah, having a lot of fun with my reading. But man, I read so much of Ship of Destiny yesterday. And I think that I'm going to need a second before I get like fully back into fantasy. But also I'm really excited about, I don't know my own thoughts. Anyway, this is a lot of fun. Thank you everyone for joining and for coming, even though it wasn't like a TBR Spin official reading sprint. That will again be on March 23rd. I've already scheduled it in YouTube. So I think you can like do like the little notify me thing. And yeah, and then we'll do the spin for April, which I get way too excited now to do the spins. I think there's something about like just starting the book right after I spin that gets me so pumped for it. But I look forward to seeing you all then. Yay. Glad to have you all here. Super helpful. That's good. Yeah, and I'll talk to you soon, Gemma, because we're going to be reading Expanse again. Thank you. I will have so much fun puzzling. I love it. My favorite thing, besides reading. Okay, bye, everyone.